Happy Monday, everyone. I wanted to come and have a conversation with you about the inner child. So, one of the reasons, by the way, I'm wearing this hat because it's fun, playing with my inner child. Also because it's a cloudy day here in Sedona, hoping we're going to get some rain. And so the house is a little cooler because the sun's not warming it up. But anyway. So if you have questions about how to dialogue with your inner child, please post them in the comments, so hopefully I can answer them. This has come up for me because I don't know if you guys remember last year the thing that I had with inflammation, and when I talked to my body, I figured out that it was unresolved anger, and then I went through this whole process of integrating anger. Well, in the past month, the inflammation has come back just really subtly. And so as I was asking my body, is there anything you want to tell me about this? What's going on? Anything you want to share? And my body's like, talk to your inner child. So I asked little Susie, what's going on? What's happening? Anything you want to share? Turns out she's having a temper tantrum, throwing herself around on the floor, screaming, kicking, having a temper tantrum. And I was like, oh, honey, what's going on? I have no idea, because, I haven't checked in with her in a while. She's been pretty good, pretty stable, pretty happy, so I hadn't really checked in with her in a while. So I asked little Susie, what's going on? How can I help you? And essentially, she just needs to be heard and to have a temper tantrum. She just needs to tantrum it out. So I just let her have a temper tantrum, and also let her know that I'm here, I'm listening, I'm checking in, I'm available, and that has decreased the inflammation dramatically in my body, and that's really powerful. So I just wanted to have a conversation with you guys how you can heal your inner child, how you can heal yourself by talking with your inner child. So how do you talk with your inner child? Again, if you guys have questions about this, put those in the comments. Hopefully I can answer them. How do you talk with your inner child? How do you even, and what is the inner child? Maybe we should start there. So the inner child is an aspect of yourself that usually has wounding from when you were younger. So anything unresolved in your current life, any trauma or any suffering or any patterns that keep showing up, anything that keeps showing up that's unresolved generally has a lot to do with the inner child and an aspect of you that is unhealed. So when you reflect on your life or think on your life, what happened when you were younger, you can usually find a point, maybe you're 2 years old or 5 years old or 12 years old or whatever, and maybe it's, more than one age where you experience something traumatic, often with the parents or, maybe not with your parents, but experience something traumatic, experience something that you need to heal. So what is required to connect with your inner child is a space of quiet within your mind. So that's generally the hardest part, right? So if you're good at getting yourself in a meditative space, that's a great time to connect with your inner child. And if you're not good at that, then that's something you'll need to practice to be able to quiet your mind, to be able to access your inner child, or to find a practitioner who can, find that voice of your inner child for you. And that's very possible as well, and that's something that I can do with you. So if you're having a hard time accessing it for yourself, you can always hire someone to help you out with that. But generally, the idea is to, get in a quiet space within yourself so that you can quiet your mind and access that, usually the smaller voice of the inner child, right? So, deep belly breathing and just allowing your body to become more and more relaxed and call forth your inner child. So for me, I call her little Susie, like, little Susie, is there something you want to say? Is there something you want to share with me? Is there something you want to express? I'm listening. So you need to let your inner child know that you're here. You need to let your inner child know that you're listening to her or him. You need to, set aside that time and space for that connection. Now, sometimes, the voice is so loud and it's easier to connect in, and sometimes it's a quiet voice because maybe you're not practiced with connecting with your inner child. So again, it is a practice, and it's one of those journey things I talk about all the time. It's a journey, you know. Well, it really kind of is, because if you're not used to dialoguing with your inner child, it is a practice. It is a intentional thing that you're doing to get access and to connect. So I don't know if you guys are writing down questions and I'm just not seeing them, but if you do have questions that you want to put in the comments, feel free to do that so I can answer them. So getting in that quiet space and letting your inner child know that you're listening, letting your inner child know that you are here, that you're available for a conversation, for a dialogue, and then start asking your inner child questions. What do you need from me? What do you want? What do you want from me? What do you need? What would you like to express? Do you have anything to say? And then listen. Listen for the answer. See what your inner child has to say. Now for me, how do you start a conversation? Great. Yeah, so you just start asking questions, Patrick. You just start asking questions, and just like I just said, you were probably typing that comment as I was asking those questions. What do you need from me? What do you want? What do you want from me? How can I help you? How can I support you? What do you need to express? Are you hurting somewhere? Is there trauma that you've experienced that you would like to heal? And if you want to use this dialogue for self-healing, then you ask your inner child, then you let your inner child know that you are going to play the role of the parent for your child. So it's like self-parenting. So if your child, in my example, if your child is angry and having a temper tantrum, what little Susie needs is to have that tantrum and to be loved and accepted while she has a tantrum, right? So just allowing her to do it. So you're playing the parent role for your inner child. You're offering the divine feminine and you're offering the sacred masculine. And so again, this is why this is a journey, because if you haven't practiced integrating your divine feminine into your being, integrating your sacred masculine into your being, you might not know how to give that to your inner child. So that's another part of the journey, is learning what the feminine is for you, learning what the sacred masculine is for you, learning how to be both and be balanced in both, and to offer those to your inner child. Most of what your inner child wants is your attention, your acceptance, your love. That's kind of universal. So even if you don't know how to be the divine mother or be the sacred father, that's okay. Just offer your inner child love, acceptance. Let your inner child know you're listening. Let your inner child know you're available. And if you're first starting this kind of a journey with your inner child, it's really helpful to set aside a time. Just like you would set aside 10 minutes for meditation every day, it's setting aside that time to be with your inner child. Setting aside that time to ask your inner child questions and to listen. So it might be helpful to get a pencil and paper and just, start some automatic writing when you ask your inner child questions, if there's anything he or she has to say to you. If you are good at getting in that meditative state and just sitting still in silence, asking the questions and then listening to see what answers come forth, grabbing your phone and, opening the memo or the notes or whatever, like the audio recording thing on your phone, and ask the questions and then just start talking and see what comes out. And then you have a recording of it in case something really juicy comes out and you can remember it. So it really is about setting the intention that you want to connect with your inner child, letting your inner child know that you are available, and making some commitments. So when I first had my inner child healing experience, my friend Wendy Rose helped me with that, and she took me through this process, and then I ended up making some promises to little Susie. I said, I promise I'll always be here for you. I promise I'll pay attention from now on. I promise I will nurture you. I'll hold you if you need to be held. I'll hold your hand if you want to hold my hand. I'll play with you when you want to play. Things like that. So that has been so helpful in achieving self-healing for me, healing the wounds of the past, you know, how I grew up, the lack, the, you know, not getting enough love, whatever, you know. My parents are very loving, by the way, so I'm not at all saying that my parents failed me. They were very, very loving. But, you know, every child has that need to be nurtured, to be loved, to be accepted. And so that's what you can do for your inner child, is offer that love, that acceptance, and that nurturing. And so sometimes nurturing the inner child means nurturing the adult, you know, going out into nature, going to the float spa and being enveloped in the womb-like environment of the warm waters, going to the hot springs, you know, those are some things that I love. But find it, you know, going outside and making mud pies, that can be nurturing to both the inner child and the adult. So learning how to play, yeah, get some thumbs up for that. So whatever you do to nurture your inner child, whatever you do for play, it benefits both your inner child and your adult self. So I'd love to see some comments about how you nurture your inner child, or how you play with your inner child. Max and I are really great at playing with our inner children. We laugh, we're silly together. It's nurturing for our inner children as well as for our adult selves. So it works both ways. As you heal the inner child, you're also, of course, healing the adult self. And this is a very powerful self-healing tool, is working with your inner child. So I'm not seeing any questions. Again, I don't know if Facebook's just not showing me them, or you haven't written anything down. I will check the video after I say goodbye. But thank you for joining me today. And if you want more support with accessing your inner child, you can get a one-on-one session, or you can join us in the Creation Temple as a Master Creator, because we meet every week in person, online, through videos. We get to have that nice deep connection, and we get to do our shadow work together, and sometimes laugh and play together too. So I would love if that's a level of support that you want, come join our soul family in the Creation Temple as a Master Creator, and you'll get personalized, deep support to nurture not just your adult self, but your inner child as well. So lots of love to you guys, and I'll check the video afterwards, see if there's questions here in the comments. I'll see you in the next video. Mwah, much love.